leads 2-1 over Invictus Gaming's Macsed, and we're about to jump into Derelict Watcher. What are your thoughts on this map in the matchup?
I think it's a good map for Hack, actually. It's a lot easier to drop the main base than it would have been on that last map, although he didn't need to after he took out that quick third base at Macsed. And also, it's kind of wide open, which makes it easier to get a good concave against the Phoenix Colossi play that Macsed's been showing us.
All right, well, the countdown has begun. Must-win situation for Macsed. If Hack can win here, he has punched his ticket to Toronto. He will be joining us for the Season 3 Finals. Let's go ahead and jump into game, where we will find out what happens. Spawning in the top right-hand corner of Derelict Watcher, the blue Terran player, Startail Hack. And down in the bottom left, Hack's opponent, the red Protoss from Invictus Gaming, it is Macsed. A lot of Macsed fans here today, Mike. I'm a little surprised at that. But,
You're surprised? How can you not be a fan of Macsed? The last non-Korean player left in our tournament. He's a pretty fun player to watch as well. Lots of fun, exciting things. Yesterday we saw a proxy Robo against a Zerg player. That's something I don't think I've ever seen by anyone besides Macsed.
it looks awesome.
And I'd love to see him in Toronto doing more builds like that.
I would hate to see that showing up on ladder. Just want to say that. Get that out of the way.
Don't worry about it. I've seen no one besides Macsed do it before. I have actually seen Macsed do it before, believe it or not.
Oh, that is, I don't know, man. I don't know, Mike. Gas opening for Macsed here, so that's normal. Gateway also down. It looks like we might be seeing Command Center first for Hack, though. So he's saving up quite a bit of money.
That's kind of interesting. On this map, I think Macsed might be able to do something that could maybe punish that. He's going for a quick probe scout, and I think when he sees this, he might decide to take his second gas and go for a tech build.
We will see as Macsed gets into the main base.
I think the two most common things we'd see is either one, he goes for something to punish this, or two, he just goes for a fast Nexus instead of his Cyber Core. So we'll have to see what he wants to do. And it looks like that fast Nexus is coming out. He pulled off gas immediately when he saw the quick CC.
Yep. Macsed does not want to fall behind economically. He will go ahead and drop this Nexus. And we're going to have two players on two bases. Hack's Command Center on the high ground means by the time it lands in the natural, Macsed's Nexus will also be finishing up. So these guys are neck and neck in terms of their expansion timing. Probe Scout continuing to just dance around the main base. Command Center first means no Marine, means it's hard to catch him.
Still some builds that Macsed could do that could maybe punish Hack. A Blink Stalker follow-up after this quick Nexus could be very effective on this map. Because of Hack's opening, his tech and gas is delayed a lot. And that means that Blink Stalkers will have a pretty nice timing window if he chooses to go for that. But it doesn't seem to be Macsed's style so far. So it might be a pretty big change-up if he did something like that.
I think in general the Chinese players don't often opt for Blink in this matchup. I don't know why that is. It's a very common, it's a super common all-in.
Probably the most
American
common
ladder,
all-in against Terran players these days.
I've seen more than a couple angry threads on Reddit and Team Liquid about how do I stop Blink Stalker all-ins.
Yeah.
Often the most upvoted comment is you don't. As Hack's Command Center does land in the natural, right as Macsed's Nexus finishes up. Still no commitment to tech from Macsed. He's just getting his second Gateway Mothership Core on the way. What is this probe going to build? What's it going to be, little guy?
Could be a Robo, I think. Oh, no, Stargate.
If at first you don't succeed.
Try and try again.
Yep. Unfortunately for Macsed, this is going to be instantly scouted. Well, should be instantly scouted.
A mistake. I don't think that should happen.
Will be instantly scouted.
Maybe he should cancel it now?
That's got to be one of the most disheartening things in the world. I'm going to drop my tech, and then he's going to see it right away.
I like it when people scout my tech. I just cancel it, go for a different tech, and
you play Zerg,
give you a lead.
Just build all the tech.
Well, yeah, as Zerg we don't even have tech.
You don't cancel it. You just build more tech.
I'm like, you saw my Spire, time to go Ultralisk and Infestors at the same time. And
I once played a game against White Raw, and I decided to... Oh, look at this unfortunate Stalker who's going to be chased away by this Marine Poke. This is going to be a little bit annoying. I think Macsed may be forced to use Photon Overcharge here.
I think so as well. And waits until the last moment, so the Marines are right next to that Nexus and they can pick off 2 of them.
This Stalker might get a couple more. It's hard to micro in this situation.
Yeah, against 5 Marines, especially considering its health and that it has no shields.
Anyway, my White Raw story. I was playing a game with White Raw once, Mike, and I thought I was being very clever. I was going to hide my Spire in the bottom right-hand corner of Daybreak. I was in the bottom left, so proxy Spire. And I made a Hydra Den that I let White Raw scout. But it didn't matter because he was going 4 Stargate Carrier. And it was very easy for him to make Phoenixes.
I applaud the effort.
Everything was going so well until my first 12 mutas spawned to be greeted by 8 Phoenixes.
That hurts. You should split them up, send them in each direction. Maybe then one of them can escape.
In my mind, I was like, I just need more mutas than he has Phoenixes. I didn't realize he had 4 Stargates.
It's difficult to outproduce 4 Stargate Phoenix.
It was indeed. So, to the game at hand, we can see that Startail Hack is adding more and more barracks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Starport is down. So this is a very similar build to what we just saw. Hack feeling confident in his 2-base Terran play.
This Oracle might be able to get a couple kills though, as Marine's a little bit out of position. And I think if he micros correctly, kind of missing that shot on that SCV there.
Oracle has exactly a couple kills. 2 kills on the Disciple Oracle. As he is going to continue floating around, looking for openings. Where did those Marines go? There they are. One more SCV does get picked off. Macsed doing a little better job babysitting this Oracle than he has done in previous games, even though he's only killed, I think, 3 SCVs. He's not taken any damage on that Oracle. He's kept it alive, and he will be able to use it more later on in the game. Phoenix production has begun for Macsed. He will once more be playing that Phoenix Colossus style that we know him for. And would you say that what Hack has shown us here is the best way to play against this kind of a build?
I'm not sure about that. I think in the last game, it was just that observer positioning, not seeing the units coming up and losing his third that early that cost him the game. And in the other game, that SCV pull could have been effective if he got the EMPs down on the correct units. So I'm not sure. He's shown us 2 kind of interesting games. The one game was just kind of one after he killed the 3rd base, in my opinion. And the first game, the SCV pull is one way that's very well. It deals with Phoenixes pretty well, so.
Single Colossus out on the map right now for Macsed. He's just got to sit at the top of this ramp and force field well. He doesn't have to worry about taking any damage from from this 1 Marine drop. Man, this is the worst job in the world. What do you want me to do? I'm going to drop you in the middle of the Protoss base and leave. Okay. And unfortunately, we can't zoom in at the edge of the map, so we'll never get to see the... Oh, he flew off the edge. Look, he's falling through space. What a way to go.
He'll keep falling forever because it's space.
That Marine doing his best to imitate the movie Gravity. Oh. Remember all that talk about how Macsed doing a great job with his Oracle?
Yeah, not anymore. But its use is almost over. There's missile turrets in the main base. It could throw down a Revelation, scout a little bit, but not too much damage it could get done at this point.
Double drop going out here for Hack. 2 medevacs going to be making their way to the back of the main base. 2 medevacs, 16 Marines heading over to the 3rd. I think this 3rd is probably going to be canceled, Mike.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Macsed is maybe a bit too cautious with his units, keeping them in the natural.
Oh,
that's usually
man,
not
this
returned
is terrible
attacks.
because all of Macsed's units are going to go respond to this drop. Meanwhile, 16 Marines unloading in the main base. That's going to cost Macsed a couple of Phoenixes and maybe his Stargate. Oh, no. Macsed is in trouble once more. Photon Overcharge going to be cast on the Nexus. These units are probably going to pick up now that the Colossus is here. But not before doing a fair amount of damage. And this drop at the 3rd lives on.
At least he kept his 3rd alive, though. This isn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I think losing the Stargate is probably less painful than losing the 3rd base.
Yeah,
but
it's not actually as bad with Macsed's way. He goes that Stargate and the Colossi Phoenix. When it's Jim and he loses the Stargate, it's almost game over because he commits so heavily to the Phoenix. but we've seen that Macsed likes to add these forges earlier and transition away from the Phoenix, so I don't think it's that big of a loss.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of stings for Macsed is that he now only has a single Phoenix out on the map, so we can no longer really say he's playing Colossus Phoenix. He's just playing normal Protoss with the Phoenix to scout somewhere. Where is that Phoenix?
I don't even know.
He's inside of the Colossus. This is amazing. Anyway. We see that Hack has amassed a pretty respectable force here, Mike. His army supply, 93 against 85, so comparable armies to say the least. The Marine count so high, 44 Marines out on the map against 4 Colossi. Hack's going to have to be very careful about how he engages.
He does have Blink, so his Stalkers will at least be useful in picking off those Vikings if he can do that. And I'm not sure if there's... How many Vikings is this? This is 8 Vikings, so that's okay. If he loses 1 or 2, though, it's going to take him a little while to eliminate those Colossi.
I kind of like this. Pylons on the low ground will make it difficult for the Terran army to engage the Protoss. Well,
as long as he doesn't get supply blocked, though. That
unless the Terran just kills the pylons.
Yeah.
In which case, they just become a donation. So that didn't work out as well as I had hoped. A few Marines being stemmed forward over... Oh, last Phoenix is going to die. Being stemmed over to this third base where they will get a couple of probe kills.
Ooh, and Macsed not protecting his Colossi as well as they should be. Just kind of running up to defend those units in the medevac drop. He lost 1 Colossi, lost all the shields and another one, and didn't kill any of the Vikings.
So Hack doing a good job of executing his aggression here. We also saw Macsed's money spiking a little bit, perhaps slipping on the macro somewhat. He's not producing an Immortal. I don't really know why he's doing that.
The Immortals can be good until there's Ghost on the field. Once the main fight starts happening and a lot of the bio is melting and it gets to this kind of scrappy low unit situation, those Immortals are incredibly good.
Nice feedback erases a medevac from the skies. The Viking count still very high. 16 Vikings out. There's a scan to kill the Observer. That's something that we haven't seen Hack doing much of this series. Ooh, that's a lot of Zealots. In fact, that's just a formidable Protoss army. I don't think Hack wants to fight that right now. Or maybe he does, as we see the stem going down. Zealots running forward and just ripping the shreds, this bio. But wow, look at how fast the Colossi go down. Vikings doing a great job there, just eliminates the Colossus from the field altogether. The bio is going to have to retreat, though, because this is a ton of Zealots, Mike. That's 23 Zealots out on the map with a couple of Archons, a couple of High Templar against 45 Marines.
Medevac dropped in the main base in Macsed. It looks like he's defending with that potent overcharge just fine, though. And it looks like he wants to take this fight.
Oh, big fight starting to unfold in the middle of the map. Zealots chasing the bio back. Without Colossi, it's so hard, though. Where are the High Templar? There are no High Templar. There is no Storm, and the army of Macsed appears to be melting away. Mike Macsed looks like he's overextended. He's going to lose all the Zealots. The Archons are going to fall. SCVs are being pulled for no apparent reason. But it's going to be good enough as...
he's just going to charge across the map with all these SCVs, and this could be difficult for Macsed to deal with. There's no splash damage remaining for him.
I think virtually impossible. There is a single Colossus out on the map, but that is not quite going to get it done, as SCVs will frantically disassemble this pylon, and the death march will continue.
Hack with the killer instinct, just realizing that after that attack is not easy for Macsed to defend. Yep, 8 Vikings should be enough to deal with.
No energy for force field. There might be a single photon overcharge or time warp. Hack is just going to, I guess, take his time with this. He doesn't have to go into the natural. He could walk up to the third base, and it looks like that is what he's going to do. No units here to defend at all. If Macsed wants to save this third, he's got to come up this ramp, and there's the big blink. Stalkers coming forward. Colossi just cannot stand up to the focused Viking fire. SCV's doing a great job of blocking for the Marines.
I don't know, though. I think a critical mistake by Hack there. He kind of moved into that base, and a lot of the SCVs went towards the Nexus and weren't there to tank for his army.
Oh, man.
So the bio just got cleaned up.
27 Marines do remain, but once more, Hack has sacrificed so many harvesters. He's now down to 34 SCVs. He's still mining pretty well here at the third base as he's dropping all of his mules here. We can see the natural's quite thin, and his main is more or less gone. Has Hack made the same mistake as we saw in game number 1, Mike? Has he extended too far?
Yeah, I think he didn't realize that Macsed would have 2 Colossi when his push got there. The Vikings were on the ground, and then he also didn't engage nearly as well as he could have. You're pulling the SCVs mostly to tank, and even though some of them were tanking, I think the majority of them were in the other side of the bio, facing away from Macsed's units.
So some sloppy execution there from Hack, who now has to deal with some pretty overwhelming Zealot numbers. 22 Zealots, 45 Marines, the count.
And Macsed has taken up the Decisive Storm as well, which will help him a lot here. He's 4 High Templar, and even though I'm actually not sure, I thought there were ghosts. I know he has the tech, 1 ghost is in production, but no ghost in the field now.
Yep, not a single ghost on the map. That will make this difficult. A few Zealots gonna make their way over into the 3rd base, and this is gonna force Hack to defend. Sending over just a small bio hit squad. Single very angry Marauder and some Marines. Once more, Macsed will attack into the 3rd. This time he's also going to do something over at the natural stem on every single Marine and Marauder. And Macsed's just going to disengage. Meanwhile, look at these Zealots running amok through the 3rd base. The economy of Hack absolutely getting battered here. 170 Protoss supply to 130.
And now Macsed's trapped the whole army in the 3rd base, and he's going to move in and try to land some storms if he can.
Bio doing a pretty good job, though. The Colossus actually falls, and Macsed... Ooh, there's a good storm. That's a good storm, and that turns Hack around. He's got to be so careful. Both these players on pins and needles. This Colossus doing so much damage with every single swipe of the lasers. Vikings want to come forward. Stalker's going to blink, though, and this is a little bit awkward for Macsed. He does have energy for Storm, though. High Templar continuing to rain down from above, but look at this Terran army pushing forward. The Archon's going to fall. There are no more Colossi. High Templar are also going to get picked off. Oh my god, Macsed now having to retreat back across the map. He's trying to secure a 4th base. I don't know if he can save both the 4th and the 3rd, as we see a single Colossus reaching out.
Macsed did not engage that as he should have. I don't think he landed the storms he wanted. He landed some storms into the Vikings, but they'd already taken out his Colossi. And gateway units without any kind of splash damage aren't that effective against bio.
Alright, Templar wants to land some feedbacks. 16 Marines being ferried over to the main base. Will force a defensive warp in from Macsed. Here comes his army as well. So the entire army of Macsed, in fact, responding to this drop. Meanwhile, in the 3rd base, a much larger drop will unfold, and Macsed is now going to be taking some serious economic damage. Many probes falling at the main base. Photon overcharge casted. That's going to force these medevacs to lift up. They are not going to head to the 4th, but the 3rd base has been razed to the ground. Hack is punching back in a big way. Macsed trying to harass with some Zealots on the other side of the map. There's virtually no mining in Camp Hack, man. 500 resources per minute for Macsed. Hack just dropping some mules. That's going to help his income substantially.
Macsed's transferring a lot of workers now to his newly completed 4th base. That'll help his income some. But I think this game could go either way at this point. It's still completely up in the air. Macsed does have a lot of gas, which should allow him to produce a lot of High Templar. And although Hack has a lot of gas, it doesn't help him as much. Ghosts still cost a lot of minerals. All of Macsed's army, or all of Hack's army units cost a lot of minerals. So I think the situation kind of favors Macsed a little in that respect.
Certainly going to be a very close game. If Hack can deny mining from Macsed's 4th base, he's going to be much better off than he is right now. It's 116 supply to 122, still so narrow. 74 army supply to 84 army supply. It is Hack with the larger army. Looks like he's going to take a 4th base or float his command center.
A lot of these fights now are going to come down to how well the EMPs and storms land for both sides. Macsed has 2 High Templar with full energy, and Hack has a couple ghosts with a lot of energy as well.
The ambitious Marine.
The worst job again.
It did not end well for him, as Zealots are quite formidable in a 1v1. Also in a 2v2.
You don't even need 1v2. I think it could have worked out pretty well.
This time the Marines brought friends. One more will fall before these Zealots are dealt with and this pylon removed. Macsed is, he's looking confident here. I don't know if he's right to be pushing forward this aggressively. He's got to be so careful with the ghosts out on the map. There are 5 ghosts out for Hack right now.
And Macsed just has to be so careful with his Templar usage at this point. If these 2 High Templar get EMP'd by the Ghost, then his army is so much weaker than Hack's. But if he can land those side storms, feed back the Ghost, then I think he can take the fight.
Yeah, it's that dance, that age-old dance, Ghosts against High Templar. And who will execute it better? As we see Macsed just opening up one more attack path. so that he can pressure this fourth expansion, this fourth critical expansion. Meanwhile, fourth base of Macsed unaccosted. He is mining there with absolute freedom. Third base also more or less secure. We see a little bit of a poke from this Protoss army up at the top of the map. They will pick off a bunker and the Marines inside, but the rest of Hack's army is nearby, and like you said, Mike, Macsed has got to be so careful about how he engages.
He's only keeping 2 High Templar with his main army too. I don't like that as much as I think I would if he had like 4 to 5 High Templar.
This is another great drop from Hack. This third base once more is going to be, I think, eliminated. The army of Macsed is trying to get back, trying to defend. The Colossi are going to show up at the last second, but the Nexus will fall. Great pickoff once more for Hack, as both those medevacs are going to get away. Hack's entire army still on his side of the map, but perhaps considering a move down towards this fourth expansion.
And Macsed has a pretty low income at this point. Without that base, he's on basically 1 mining base at this point.
1 base to roughly 2, as Hack still has income from both his third and fourth.
He's finally grouped up all of his High Templar though. And
Oh no! That's a painful loss for Hack. 2 full medevacs getting picked off by Archons. A little bit sloppy for Hack to allow that to happen, and you know, it does set him back some, but supply-wise, he's still quite ahead. Couple of EMPs going down on the Archons. Ghosts do fall, but not before blanketing the army in EMP. There are no shields left on any of these Protoss units. Colossi are going to fall to the Vikings, and the Storms are pretty good, but the Baya's sticking around. Mike, it's 90 supply for Macsed against 150 for Hack. He might, oh my goodness, so much good Storm. But Hack's still pushing forward, might have too much for Macsed to deal with.
He needs some more High Templar. And I'm not actually sure I like his decision to storm the Vikings there, because all his Colossi died, so it doesn't matter if the Vikings are eliminated. He should have tried to use it all in the bio.
Medevacs with energy will begin healing up this army. Hack knows that there has to be an expansion down here at 6 o'clock, and we'll begin pushing on that location. Scan is going down. He sees the Templar. A couple of units will stem and run forward, and 1 Templar, 2 Templar gonna fall with just 1 feedback being cast. This Nexus is going to die. What great play here from Hack. Macsed's going to try and counterattack with an Archon run by. Well, he will find a couple of Marines and a couple of Ghosts, but wow, huge EMPs. Gonna knock off the shields for most of these Archons, and the army of Hack will begin the long journey home.
How do you think it feels to be an Archon with no shields?
Probably like casting with no pants. So we should ask Retort. Stem Bio making its way forward. This is a very low health army, Mike. A single storm, a couple of good splashes from the Archons. It might still be possible for Macsed, but it is going to be very, very close. The Archons running back. They're not going to return fire at all. One more Archon is going to go down. Yes, it does fall, and finally they will turn and fight, but there's just too much damage output in this Terran army, but it is still so close. Another Archon.
If only he had 1 or 2 more High Templar, 1 storm could kill all of these units.
The total number of workers killed this game. Macsed has killed 77 SCVs. Hack managing to kill 41 probes. Income tab shows us 30 probes to 17 SCVs.
And it's again that low economy situation. And actually now it's gotten a little bit better for Macsed. Now that Hack has mined out his third base, it's kind of a 1 base against 1 base, which does favor Hack because he has the mules of 3 to 4 orbitals, but he's on 1 base, and Macsed just has 1 base mining.
And Macsed does have a few High Templar, Mike, and we know that that Storm can be such an incredible equalizer. In these kinds of situations, Hack is feeling confident enough to load up a medevac and go drop the High Templar. Whiff the first Storm. That is very painful. Oh my God! Second Storm is going to whiff as well, and this is going to stop the this little contingent of units from really being a threat to Hack.
And I don't think Macsed, actually he might have seen this, but he doesn't have enough units in position.
Oh, and 3 medevacs unloading on this base once more. Photon Overcharge is casted, but these units will pick off the pylon, stopping the warp in, and the Nexus will go down. Good luck. Well played. Startail Hack eliminates Macsed. from the WCS and punches his ticket to the Season 3 finals in Toronto. What a great series.
It was definitely very good. And I'm excited to see Hack in Toronto. I think he's shown some exceptional Terran play at this tournament. Although he fell to Jaedong, Jaedong's not an easy opponent to beat.
A lot of players have fallen to Jaedong, and Hack's games against Jaedong were very close. I am confident that if he were to